Oh my goodness. I'm doing this, I'm walking. Wow, that's awful. Got the async hat on though, that's pretty cool. I guess. Only redeeming quality. I'm in the middle of nowhere right now. Um, Genuinely. There's I am somewhere, but that somewhere is hidden away in Wayne County, West Virginia. So, anyways, there's something I wanted to talk about, but who knows? And I got like maybe 20 minutes, so we're gonna try. First of all, the first video kind of, I mean, it didn't blow up necessarily, but 100 views and only 20 of those are my friends or something. You know, it's not too bad. A lot better than I thought it would be. And the only reason I haven't posted any more since then is because I am out here doing this. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I would have posted more had I not immediately ran off to the woods. So, you know, into the Smoky Mountains. So here we are. And I'm hoping very soon to make a video on this topic. There's a car passing by. Dude. Anyways, like I was saying, I hope that I can make a much more extended, you know, very much more fleshed out, quick little video on this same topic that I'm going to address here. Because it's something that I think about very often. My entire life, and significantly more in the past 3 years, I have suffered from this kind of incessant perfectionism, and it has taken a major toll on me. I will be upfront and vulnerable and honest about that. There are a lot of events that just point to a general unwellness around how I treat the quality of the things that I do and the things that I put into the world. Just got scared to death. Somebody started their car, like right up the hill over there. Okay, today's topic, perfectionism. I have to be very quick. Perfectionism is literally killing you. You don't realize it, but thinking that every single thing that you do or that you create has to reach this borderline unattainable standard before it is worth even being, you know, sniffed or having its eyes laid upon by another person or even by yourself in the end. These are terrible things. This is terrible. And I've learned a lot in recent months, and again in the past year or so, the past 3 years. I mean, there's any time frame that I could give, and in that time, I have learned something, because that's the nature of human beings. We're always learning more, no matter what. Yeah. So what I was saying is, in recent months, I've learned a lot about being like hyper conscientious about any given thing that I try to do. Right. I think that a lot of the time, anything that I put my mind to, I mean, first and foremost, I can be a frivolous person, you know, a little bit, or one who follows their whims, right? I'll get really locked into something, some project, some idea, you know, something that I want to make manifest, and then, you know, very quickly, I do that for a little bit, super motivated, not so motivated, less motivated, and then I'm just not motivated at all, and then I move on to the next thing. And this is the great temptation of pretty much anyone who tries to make anything. So I do that a lot. But another aspect of it is, again, this very high, like, conscientiousness, this perfectionism of where, thinking back on my entire life, I don't think there has been one thing that I have been okay with doing less than perfect at that hasn't been a compromise for my own sanity. And so what I mean by that is like the clearest manifestation of it as a child was performance in school. First couple grades elementary school, straight A's, 100%. maybe like a 98, but they don't really give you like number grades at that point. You get to like sixth grade, and they start to do that, and you get to sixth grade, and you also start to wisen up, right? You're like 10, 11 years old, and you're like, okay, it's unsustainable to grasp at this absolute like seamless garment of just like, perfect performance, right? And so you go on, and then maybe give it another year or two, and then you realize like, okay, I can get a B on a quiz or an assignment from time to time. But, and again, for the sake of your own sanity, you don't need to memorize every single thing ever, right? But beyond that point, it's like, okay, no, I'm still going to be a straight A person. I'm going to accomplish that by any means necessary. And eventually there's going to be a point where you hold on to that so tight, and you've begun to make those compromises that you're going to branch into an immoral territory of like shortcutting, or like, like starting to cheat in school or so on and so forth, even though you have like the mental capacity for it. And so that's what I suffered from. That's the most obvious thing. And then more and more has come up later in life that I've begun to realize have been symptomatic of this. Example number one could be like my faith life, my Catholic faith. A large part of where I've placed my effort and a lot of my actions that I've undertaken in pursuit of whatever the ideal is of the Catholic faith. So we can say sanctity, sainthood, holiness, obedience to God, so on and so forth. And more often than not, my behavior was very much trying to be synonymous with that latter term, right? It's very legalistic and overanalyzing every situation, and really trying to just always do the right thing at the cheapest cost. And that's terrible for a person. That borders on an OCD diagnosis, right? It's not good for anybody. And then I look at like creative endeavors and stuff like that over the past couple of years. I've had a script that I've been on and off working on and researching for 2.5 years, and I finally decided this summer, no matter how flawed it is, I'm up and doing it. Right, I'm just going to get the video done, and I hope in the next 3 to 8 weeks that can manifest itself. In the meantime, this is my sort of grounding, keep yourself sane sort of creative project is this little Yap channel, right? And that I guess kind of leads me into my proposed solution for any sort of ailing and downtrodden perfectionists who can't seem to do anything in their life because they're too afraid of doing something wrong. And ultimately that's what it is, right? That's what the disease of perfectionism is. It is being so fearful of screwing up, or not even screwing up, just not doing something to a T, that you no longer have the capability to do almost anything of value, of worth at all. And this is something that I feel life, I guess, as a whole is kind of reinforcing further and further in the past few weeks of my life, in the past few months, is I do not need to be hyper vigilant and conscientious about every single thing that I put out in the world, right? And I'm going to revert back a little bit. I didn't think about this originally. I don't know how I'm going to edit this around, but I might just keep it here where it is. But I think perhaps a wound or a flaw that many people have that disposes them towards perfectionism is the sort of inability to hear criticism, and that can stem from a number of places. That can be a very big ego, right? And that reflects on you. That can be a sense of being devalued by the criticisms that you have endured in your life, and that's something to legitimately heal from, right? There can be different factors that play into it, but a big chunk of very concrete influence is just the unbearable thought of anybody thinking that you messed up. And it's more the fear of other people thinking you messed up than actually messing up, right? Okay, so a little bit back on topic. It feels extremely insensitive to say, but sometimes the solution to our problems is simply just doing something. And when we realize that there's a bunch of bugs on my phone, ew, gross. When you realize that the fault of perfectionism is such a fault that keeps us away from meaningful action, then it is exactly that is the antidote. It is meaningful action, and it is being able to, there's so much freedom that comes in knowledge, right? And if one can realize that, hey, I have a difficult time sitting with criticisms, I should make things, I should try to put myself in a vulnerable spot, in a spot where I'm vulnerable to that. This is like exposure therapy, basically. You know, it's putting out something that you know in some sense is flawed, or rather that you intentionally withhold the hyper-vigilant degrees of care for, so that it can just go into the world, right? This is something worth considering. And I think that a lot of people suffering from perfectionism are very much always locked onto a higher standard than they're realistically at, right? For example, I am very hesitant about the reactions for certain things that I might end up talking about on this channel, right? And for that matter, on the main channel, as if I have any sense of consistent content creation there. I'm very much worried about being called stupid for things that I say, or for getting something factually incorrect, or, what have you. I'm very afraid of this. But there's so much freedom in knowing that I'm afraid of that. And it's like, let's be realistic here. I'm thinking I would consider myself somewhat of an intelligent person, fairly. But the freedom that comes with that knowledge is being able to reflect for a minute. And it's like, okay, well, I know where I'm at cognitively. And I know that there's probably very few people who are above that, who are readily willing to criticize me for this or that thing that I say, this or that opinion I spout, or something that I might get wrong, that I might get correct, that I'm kind of dubiously saying. And not that we should be irresponsible when it comes to truth, but it's very much a consolation of like, no, there are people who are going to find what I do and what I say and what I make valuable, either not realizing the flaws or in spite of its flaws, right? And these are both very, very true things that I think a perfectionist should always consider when they're making anything. And so the simplest advice I can give is just do what you wish you could do, and do what you most urgently avoid. Put out that sort of sloppy work, or whatever it is, or find a degree of quality that you're comfortable with artistically, or whatever it is, creatively, whatever, and be able to take whatever idea it is you have that is inspiring you to make something, and then adapt it to that quality. That's what a lot of these things are going to end up being, right? I have a lot of thoughts every day, and sure, I wish I could make a well-researched 40-minute video essay about them all the time, but clearly I'm not capable of doing that. I think I've got to go, but these are just some thoughts. I will surely be adding to them in the future. Knowing myself and knowing other people out there who are like me, I think these are things that everyone should hear, and I really just want to beat perfectionism over the head with a rock, because it's preventing me and so many other people from being happy and really putting forward the creative force, the creative energy that we are all truly capable of. So, all right, I gotta go. Bye-bye. To Kentucky.